There we go. All right. We live. We live. We live. We live. Oh, shit. I didn't realize my intro was finished. My bad, guys. I was looking at my TikTok feed. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It's 3:02. We're a little late, but it's August 4th, 2026. And we got a great show for you guys today. Another little slow week in the news cycle, but some good things coming your way. We got a little FIFA backing down on the whole, trying to raise money saga. We got a little transfer news chaos with Fabrizio Romano, Yan Diamande, a couple updates there. We had a crazy MLB trade deadline. My Chicago Cubbies, spot rocking the Cubs hat today, actually spent some money, or spent some prospects, I guess you could say. I don't know if you would call it money, but we out here. We got Katie and Clay beefing, and we have a little bit of updates on the NFL side. Bijan got paid, Aaron Rodgers popped off, and we got some injuries out of the 49ers camp. We got a great show today. And man, oh man, let's get things kicked off with the best thing we saw since our last show. And let me just do a quick transition to get the right spot for everybody. Perfect. And let's start the show with kicking things off with the best thing I saw. So there's this new Twitter, it's not Twitter, new X.com, everything app. Channel, page, whatever you want to call it. It's called 20 Years Ago Sports. And as one does in the morning while they're scrolling through Twitter and they're trying to build out their show for the day, I always see this channel and I always watch what they got to say. It's really great. I mean, 06 for me, I was in middle school, about to go into high school, so like the prime time for me in my my life as a fucking kid, right? And so I'm sitting here, and every time one of these things come through my feed, I'm like, all right, let's watch it. And they'll have like the SportsCenter top 10 from that day, if it's like a previous Sunday night, and it's like a good one, right? And I'm sitting here watching this, and mind you, this is 20 years old, and number 3 pops up.
At number 3, Team USA taking on Puerto Rico. Exhibition game in Las Vegas. LeBron James, a big
LeBron James.
No relation to the old Mets pitcher and pitching coach. Joe Johnson comes up with a steal on the feed to LeBron. And Dwayne Wade, here's a steal. Oh, he's got plenty of time. Checks the rearview mirror. And then the
worst part about it is I actually remember watching that game, and 20 years ago, LeBron James is at the top of SportsCenter top 10, and he's in the top peak of his prime. And look at it now. We are 20 years later, and we're still kicking off shows talking about LeBron James. Oh, I didn't do my... Hold on, guys. I got to do one quick thing real quick. Shit. I'm such an idiot. Such a fucking idiot. It's all right. all right. It's all right. This is what happens when we just, we get a little lost in the sauce. We start talking about LeBron James. Okay, now we're good. We're good. So, LeBron, 20 years later, still in the cycle, and not even just in the cycle, at the top of his cycle, right? And so, I want to dig into it a little bit, just because I was thinking, like, 20 years, man. What are the stats behind this that are like really fucking cool, right? So, LeBron James, oldest player he's ever played against, Kevin Willis, who was born in 1962. He has played against 37% of all players that have ever played in the NBA. Over a third of the NBA players to ever play the game, LeBron James has played against them, right? His youngest he's ever played against is Cooper Flagg, which was born in 2006. So it's a 44-year birth gap in opponents. And roughly 140 active players today weren't even born when LeBron entered the league. So total amount of opponents faced 1,857. It's basically you earn your stripes by playing against LeBron James. And it would be one thing if he was like doing the Udonis Haslem thing where like he was really good for a little bit and then he just sat out the end of the bench and he was a coach for like 10 years. No, he's never produced a below a 20-point game per game season. Not one in 20 plus years. His career averages sit around 27 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 7.4 assists. So basically 27-7 for 2 decades, right? He has 4 MVPs, 4 championships, 4 Finals MVPs. You guys all know all the accolades and all the records. It's actually, as a guy, I grew up in Orlando, Florida, right? And I grew up in the LeBron era, if you will. And LeBron definitely, I hated him growing up. I really did, because he left the Cavs and went to the Heat during the time that my Orlando Magic were actually halfway decent. I know it's petty, but I was, call it 14, 15 years old. And when your team is on the cusp of a championship, and the next thing you know, LeBron joins Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, you end up not liking the guy. But 20 years later, it's crazy. I mean, I was a kid walking to school, and now I'm a grown-ass man with the bills and responsibilities and fucking a mom I take care of, and we're still talking about LeBron James. It's crazy. It really is. So shout out LeBron. Easily one of the most longevity athletes you could ever come across, and I'm not going to fucking glaze him too hard and suck him off, because at the end of the day, he's still LeBron James, and it's a lot of fun to talk shit about him more than it is to glaze him. So we're not going to give him too much credit, but we're going to give him a little credit, because I just was blown away watching this, 20 years ago sports, and I'm sitting here watching the top 10 and LeBron James is in it. That's just mind-blowing to me. Absolutely mind-blowing. Additionally, we got some other cool stuff in the news. Zach Brown Band is giving away. He did 15 nights, 15 consecutive sold-out shows at Fenway, which, that's pretty impressive to say the least. And then on the last show, I think the last Sunday night, he basically, to all 37,000 fans in attendance, gave away, I'll let him say it himself.
That even Jimmy would say is crazy. I'm buying every single person here a cruise for 2 people on the boat.
I mean, listen, I don't know if that, I don't think you could pay me to go on a Margaritaville cruise to begin with. And maybe that's what's going on here. It's like a very elaborate marketing scheme by the Margaritaville guys. But shout out Zach Brown, man. That's pretty cool. I mean, if I was there, I'd be like, what's the catch, But looking into it a little bit more, seems like he's, doing something like pretty cool for his fans. Like, so Zach Brown, Oprah Winfrey, watch out. Zach Brown Band coming in hot with Margaritaville cruise tickets. So I didn't even know there was such thing as a 2-day cruise. Like, what is that? Just like a Friday, Saturday night cruise, like a casino cruise, basically. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. GameStop. This is the best thing I saw since last time we were live. GameStop comes out with an ad that just absolutely targets gamers like no other. Stop beating it, the ad says. Trade your busted controller in for the same credit as a working one. Only valid through August 15th. Listen, I come from the ad world. Obviously, you guys know I, part of the app loving business early on, and now I'm on that retired tech bro shit. But so I love a good ad when I see one, and let me tell you, anything like this that kind of alludes to yerking it a little, I love it. I love it. So shout out GameStop. I don't even really know. Like, there's obviously a little asterisk here. Offered good towards controllers normally accepted in trade as defective only. Offers include PlayStation, Switch, and Xbox controllers. So yeah, you can just go turn in your controller. I don't know what the angle is here. I guess they're trying to get people to just buy games by going into the store. I don't know. Great ad though. Absolutely great ad. All right, guys, let's get into. Hold on, let me switch up my transitions. TikTok, you guys don't got transitions yet. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to go to the main feed if you want to see the cool transitions and the different layout. But, anyways, let's get into our top story of the day. We reported it last week. We reported it. We were quick on it. Honestly, we kind of called out that it would, because of the reaction, it would amount to nothing. But for those that don't know, last week, FIFA and President Gianni Infantino went out and basically said they want to raise some capital for the player. What ended up saying, like what they ended up going with as the player development program. And there's a little more on that later in a second. But setting the table here, they went to try to raise money through private investors. Everybody not everybody, a lot of countries, including UEFA, the European body, governing body for football and soccer out there, basically said, we're going to protest, we're out, we're not going to do the World Cup anymore. Peace out, Girl Scout, we've had enough fun, right? And so what I forgot to do was record my TikTok stream. Well, whatever. It is what it is. Growing pains with building out the TikTok stream. But the other streams will record just fine. I'm just a little mad at myself for not recording that. But anyways, so FIFA basically wants to try and raise some money through some private investors. UEFA and a bunch of other countries say no. We're going to boycott the World Cup, which includes not just the World Cup 4 years from now, which is obviously forever from now, but also the Women's World Cup next year. Some other countries, we actually came out in support of FIFA, which, CONMEBOL, which for those that don't know, it's like the South American governing body. Obviously, they came out in support. They are part of Argentina, and so I can imagine Argentina's a big fan of FIFA based on the way that they've handled them for the last few years. And you had like Mexico come out and be like, oh, we just want to see more details and stuff. So it's getting a little muddy in the waters, to say the least. So shout out to UEFA for standing up and saying, hey, we're probably the biggest. We talked about it last show, but 25% of the votes of the 211 nations, but 70% of the revenue comes from the European nations. And so they really stood on business. They basically said, hey, like, we're not going to do this. And FIFA listened. So FIFA backed down off of this. They basically said, we're not going to do this anymore. Everything's cool. Right? Sort of, not really, because they came out and said, hey, guys, it's really not big of a deal. We did this for player development. Like, we're just trying to raise money, in the same way that like Morocco did, 20 years ago, give a little money, build a couple academies, and now you got good players, and we're building football throughout the world, which, sounds great and all, except their chief of global player development, Arsene Wenger, Arsenal's very own Arsene Wenger, reportedly they didn't even know about this thing. So you got, in his words, the recent events at FIFA deserve some clarity from my side. At FIFA, I am the chief of global football development. Together with my team, I oversee the data analysis of the game, the FIFA Online Training Center, the development of the youth education through 60 academies across 60 countries, where they're most needed in youth competitions around the world. In addition, I am a technical advisor to IFAB. I was not involved in this strategic plan and first became aware of these projects through media reports. So, Arsene Wenger kind of calls out their own BS on behalf of FIFA, which, to his credit, you love to see. Obviously, he has no allegiances there, and it seems like a lot of people are actually in a position where they're pulling out and they're stopping themselves from being associated with President Infantino, which, as you can imagine, sorry, I got to get through my topic board. I got to get used to using the topic board again. But as you can imagine, it's not looking great for FIFA and President Gianni Infantino, and it continues to get worse. So on top of that, The Athletic is now reporting that I can't get a good view of that for both at the same time, but we'll do our best to get both in there. So the Athletic is now reporting, I couldn't find who actually reported it because we were a little short on time coming into this episode, but U.S. host cities are chasing FIFA for millions in payments, and they say they were promised by FIFA towards legacy costs of the World Cup. Cities verbally promised $1 million each, but not paid out by FIFA, who made $15 billion in the World Cup cycle. So when it rains, it motherfucking pours, let me tell you, because it's just looking worse and worse for Gianni Infantino. And then on top of that, you have the president of the Jordan football. I want to make sure I got that right. I believe he's the president of Jordan football. Is it? Let me double check that. Ali Al Hussein. Just want to make sure I quote that right. President of Jordan Football Association. Okay, we have that right. We're getting too far ahead of ourselves. So now the spice gets spicier with Ali Al Hussein saying there's no shortage of issues with regarding FIFA. Let me start by clarifying what some of these are from the FA perspective, in particular that Jordan going into the World Cup for the first time. We are a small country with minimal budget for our FA and had to deal with enormous hurdles. First, getting our fans into the USA. Not all were granted visas, but where it really comes into place. Thirdly, we have been waiting for reward money for our players since December for the Arab Cup in Qatar, which is a FIFA event. The money our team should receive for having reached the final has not been delivered yet, while at the same time, FIFA brags about how many billions they have in reserve. It's clear the problem really is with leadership. For months, FIFA has been refusing to help us of any of these other matters until it was verbally communicated to me during the World Cup that if I endorsed Infantino, it would go a long way to helping our FA out. We pride ourselves in Jordan upholding ethnic values. We did not endorse him, yada, yada, yada. So long story short, Gianni Infantino went to the Jordan president of football and said, dog, support me, I support you. Scratch my back, I will scratch yours. And as you can imagine, this has caused a bit of an uproar in the community. Now, listen, I come from a world where I've seen PE capital inject into things that help grow. I've also seen PE capital be a way for people to make money. And so I understand that FIFA is trying to be run themselves as a business, and they're trying to leverage the business side and the commercialization side to enable them to pour more gas on the fire, if you will, right? So taking funds raised privately and dumping it into the business so that they continue to grow in a rapid fashion. Well, the problem is FIFA has already grown a significant amount. And so they just delivered $15 billion in revenue in a 45-day span. Obviously, things are going really well. And so I think where Gianni Infantino actually messed up was trying to raise private capital, obviously, right? Because the whole concept is that football isn't to be owned by anybody, right? And which I wholeheartly believe in too. Now, the thing that if I'm FIFA president, what the best way to handle this? How could you angle this if you were running FIFA to actually achieve what he's trying to achieve? Because the highest goal is he's trying to make more money for the business, right? Full stop. Trying to make more money. They made $15 billion. They want to replicate that, and they would love to see it 20-30% more next time that they do this, right? So that was his goal. And so through that goal, he basically said, no, I don't want your fucking AI users. Get out of here. Through this goal, he basically said, we're going to raise capital through private investors, and that will help us achieve what we're trying to do. The issue is, when you do that, is in a business that's over 100 years old, you have a lot of people that are obviously frustrated that you're trying to bring in private capital that can benefit and obviously have say and sway, whatever you want to call it, over the sport in general. So, how should he have done this? This is my proposal, and this is where I think they messed up, or where they could do really, really well in the future if they really wanted to reposition it. Obviously, don't sell the tournament. Let's just stop. Step number one, nobody should own FIFA. It should be continue to be agnostic. It should be a way to generate revenue for the global football community, but it should never be owned by an individual. But if you want, again, if the goal is to make more money only and to increase fan participation and excitement, whatever you want to call it, I think there's something there for them to do with changing a restructure of the calendar. And let me tell you, if the FIFA turned around and said, hey, we just want to move it up 1 year to make it every 3 years, people would freak out. It'd be this whole mess because of the continental tournaments. I get that. What I think FIFA should have done is gone to the continental bodies, of governing bodies, and presented them with the concept of moving all continental tournaments up to 3 years and and the World Cup up to 3 years. Have the continental tournaments play a role in qualification for the World Cup, and have them run the year prior to the World Cup every single time. So, for example, if you took, obviously 2030 is already booked, 2028 Euros is already booked, 2032 Euros is already booked. So let's say, but 2034 World Cup is not. So let's say you take the 2032 Euros, and after that you move to a rolling 3-year schedule. You then have the 2034 World Cup, and then from there you'd have the 2036 Euros, 2037 World Cup, etc., etc. And so what this does is, well, one, you probably noticed that the African nations performed really well in this World Cup. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that last year they played in AFCON. Now, it was in December, so a little bit closer than what would have been the summer prior, but still definitely played a role for how well these teams seemingly played, right? And so I personally believe that if you move into this kind of 3-year structured schedule, you kind of have this like succession or this ascension through the ranks, where like you have a summer off to build up qualification, then you have the continental tournaments that help into qualification into the final big tournament. And so you kind of have this like trickle down approach where each summer becomes more and more higher stakes, and then they play off of each other, right? And what would this do? This obviously gives us more World Cups, which I think fans would be abrasive to at first, but then would eventually be like, okay, this is kind of cool. B, it allows for cooperation amongst all the continental tournaments. So if you have CONMEBOL doing theirs, and you have CONCACAF doing theirs, and you have AFCON doing theirs, and you have all these different tournaments going on in each summer, it'll be really interesting to watch them play in, and then there's qualification tied into it, and then the following summer is obviously the World Cup, which is a huge fucking thing. So it's going to increase revenue because you shave a year off. You're going to increase interest because you're going to have, certain tournaments, maybe not the Euros per se, but the CONMEBOL or CONCACAF tournament, Gold Cup. I mean, AFCON was kind of big because there was nothing on at that time. So, like, you'll have more importance on tournaments that otherwise weren't as important before. And then, like I said, overall, you're increasing revenue across the board. So it's like a win-win-win. And like I said, if I was the president of FIFA and I approached the continents, the governing continent bodies of these football federations, I think they'd be a lot more on board than me trying to raise a little bit of money, carve out a little cash, and take it for myself. That's just my 2 cents on it. I mean, I really don't know the ends. We could maybe I'll do a proper video on this one day, like a true breakdown of what's what. Obviously, I think in the continental tournaments, like if you're talking about qualifying, right? If you got like 3rd place in the tournaments, you can then 3rd, 2nd, and 1st all qualify automatically. So like now there's stakes on the 3rd place game. There's a lot of little things you could do. I personally think, I heard that they're trying to move it to every 2 years. I think that's way too much, way too fast. especially with the continental tournaments. I think if you make it a more of a cooperative thing with the different continents, you're going to have a lot more success and you're a lot more buy-in from the players and fans, etc. And I just think it would be cool for football. I mean, there are, like, next year we do not, we have the Women's World Cup, but there's really not going to be too much football in 2029, right? For instance, so it would move this scale up a bit, and it would be really fun in my opinion. So, anyways, let's get into the next topic. There has been some drama in the transfer market. For those that have been following along since last week, I think you know what's going on here. But for those that are new and have not been following along, things are getting spicy in the transfer news market. So Fabrizio Romano, probably the most well-known reporter in the transfer market space, came out a couple weeks ago, said Yan Diomande confirmed going to Real Madrid. We are now 2 weeks removed from that tweet, and he is still not at Real Madrid. Now, listen, this could have changed let's just double check. Let's check that he has not been confirmed since this start of this show, because it is like that. It is like that. Nothing like seeing yourself on your own feed. I don't see. No, nothing new for Yan Diomande. Okay, we're good. See, just like that. We just gotta rule it out. The Rock Nation, what did I just do? Rock Nation, the agency that is representing both Yan Diomande and Vinicius Jr., came out with a post 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago now at this point. Could have been. It was actually, I think it was over the weekend. But that says, fake news, Rock Nation Sports International and our entire team cannot stand idle when unprofessional and uninformed media publish fake and damaging information for attention-seeking purposes. This is especially unacceptable when it personally targets our clients without any foundation. It is disruptive, harmful, and libelous. Media outlets and journalists need to hold themselves accountable, which is some pretty strong words given the fact that Fabrizio Romano tweeted out that Yan Diomande is confirmed going to Real Madrid, which has now led to, let's just actually, hold on real quick. I just want to see if this is actually still live. But basically, Fab Romano has something pinned on his, it's gone now. Man, this earlier had did he repost this? This had a community note earlier. Thought I had a screen. Let me see. Do I have it? Yeah, see? Right? Did they remove the community note? Hold on, I think I got the screenshot. Pictures, screenshots. No, that's not. Yeah, all right. I don't have it. But basically, this is hilarious right here. So Fabrizio Romano basically holding on tight to this Yan Diomande quote. But the funniest thing about it is he's sitting here, it's happening soon, but this is actively being community noted that basically Red Bull Leipzig has now confirmed that there's no agreement that has been reached with Madrid. So maybe something has changed in the past, I don't know, hour or two. Done for days, I don't know. So maybe the community note got removed. But there was a minute for there that he had a pinned tweet with a community note underneath it. I wish I got the screenshot of it. But close enough with this one right here. Additionally, Bruno Guimaraes, we talked about it last week. Seems like this deal's getting closer and closer. Eddie Howe officially out. I really hope we get Bruno. He's obviously an incredible talent. I think a double pivot with him and Rice in the midfield. It is a treble-winning double pivot, and then throwing in that other Rock Nation client. If we somehow get Vinicius Jr. in the Arsenal squad, man, this is a team to look out for. So I'm fully on board. I'm always on board with Arsenal. It doesn't matter what year it is. But this is one of the coolest years to be an Arsenal fan. If you're a new fan to the world, into the world of footy, all I can say is you got a really great season on your hands coming up because you got a lot of new coaches, you got a lot of movement. You obviously got Arsenal winning their first championship in 22 years. You got just a lot of different things coming into play that should be a lot of fun. What's up, Cam? Good to see you, my man. We got to grab some lunch soon. But yeah, Bruno, excited to see him come through the ranks. My man, he should, like I said, double pivot in the midfield with these two is going to look absolutely incredible. TikTok is where it's at. I agree. I'm doing the dual stream, though. I got 2 separate cameras. I got the same mic coming through. I don't know if this is what you do as well, if you just do the TikTok these days, but there's a way to do it both at the same time. I can teach you how to do it if you want, but I'm sure you already got it figured out. Anyways, moving on. Pochettino confirmed through 2030. I'm going to gear towards both. I mean, I guess you're in a little bit of a tough spot, Cam, where you're playing a game. I'm just looking at shit on Twitter. So maybe a little bit more resource intensive if you're going to be doing both both streams. But I mean, it's definitely doable. You just need a second camera. That's the only difference. You can run the same mic, 2 cameras. And if you get what I'm using for my second camera is like I'm rocking your 3080, my man. Let's go. You're still on that 3080. That's what I love to see. If you got the money for it, the Pocket Mini, the Osmo Pocket Mini, it's a great like field camera. I used it for a lot of my World Cup stuff, but it also doubles as a webcam. So that's what you're seeing me use right now. It comes through 3K portrait. Looks really fucking clean. So that's my only advice for you that I got. But otherwise, we got to grab lunch soon. Anyways, Mauricio Pochettino, 2030. He's going to be here through the 2030 World Cup in Portugal, Morocco. We will. We got to get Casey out there too. Maybe hit the, I can't say that on TikTok, but, hit the bar that we did last time. Pochettino is going to be here through 2030. Should be, we talked about it last week. Great move by the U.S. He obviously only had about 12 months to work with the previous U.S. team, and we saw some great results from them, to say the least, in the World Cup. Obviously, the Belgian game didn't go the way that we wanted, but Pochettino here through 2030, giving him a full cycle. Going to have him coaching the team for the Gold Cup. We also just announced that there's 4 U.S. games coming into, there's going to be a game in Orlando, which I'm a little pissed off about. It's on September 26th. I'm actually going to London, so I'll be at Oktoberfest this year. And so I'm going to do a couple days in London, a couple days in Germany, and just have a lot of fun. And then, of course, the U.S. announced that they're playing in Orlando, which is where we're based. Obviously, a little frustrating on my part because I'd love to go see the USMT play, especially at Inter & Co. It's a great, great fucking stadium. Oh shit, I didn't even see that you're on. I got to pay attention in both my chats. I appreciate you, Cam. You're the fucking man. For those that were anybody in the gaming world, Cam, the guy that's shown me all this love. Go follow this guy. He is my inspiration. He is the man that if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have ever done this, because I never would have really gotten deep into it a few years ago, and I wouldn't ever really know what to do right now. Like, I built all this shit myself, but like I learned from this guy. So really, really cool to see the love, man. I love you, brother. For real. You're the man. Anyways, MLS has elected a new commissioner, Larry Berg. A lot of people hating on this. TikTok want to blow. I know. I believe. Your TikTok, my TikTok, all of us, we're blowing up. Actually, I don't think I can even say the words blowing up. TikTok, so I got taken off stream for the stupidest shit the other day. But anyways, the new commissioner has been elected for the MLS. His name is Larry Berg. He is the co-owner of LAFC, which means that the promotion, relegation, world, and idea of what we want in the MLS is probably going to die here. I'm sorry to say it, guys, but obviously the MLS electing one of their own owners as commissioner this guy is not going to advocate for promotion and relegation. For those that don't know, we've been really pushing for promotion and relegation in MLS simply because it's way more entertaining of a product, especially when you look at what the Europeans do with Premier League and La Liga, etc. It really is an engaging, much more. Really? You make 300 every time you're on TikTok? That's really incredible, my man. Good shit. Good shit. I haven't even set up my monetization. I've made a few bucks, but nothing like crazy. But I'm not screaming into a microphone like you, earning them dollars. I'm just casually talking about fucking football. But so I do think promotion and relegation is going to die here simply because he is obviously an owner and he's not going to push for it. Now, that being said, if you really want to see promotion and relegation, the chance is still alive, but it's going to sit with the USL. For those that don't know, in 2027, the United States Soccer League will start doing a promotion and relegation system across 3 different leagues. So if the USL shows incredible growth, what's up, Kumakazi? Let's go. Tap that. I was just telling Cam we gotta get dinner or lunch or something. I don't know if you guys are free tomorrow, but I got my first interview that we're doing tomorrow. I'm not doing it live, but we're gonna record it tomorrow morning. So I'm free for lunch if you guys are around or if you guys want to do dinner or something. I am on a cruise this weekend though, so I'm not around this weekend, but I would love to see you guys. I miss you guys, both of you. Again, another inspiration right there, Kumakazi. Same shit as Cam. I'm not here today without these guys, simply out of the fact that these guys taught me a lot of what I know with all this shit. So let's do it. You guys want tomorrow night? I was thinking about going to the Orlando City game, but would you guys be down to the Orlando City game if I got us all tickets? Or should we do Corona? I swear to God, if I get kicked off TikTok for saying Corona. They're so light. I used the hard word the other day. I got kicked right off this shit. They don't fuck around at all. Corona tomorrow. Or no, I think that's the same message. Well, you guys let me know. I'll text you guys. We don't got to do this conversation here. But anyways, if the USL does actually become successful, they've become pretty successful, but over the next 4 or 5 years, if they see like rapid expansive growth, then you could see the MLS like looking at them being like, hey, they're kind of eating our lunch. And maybe in that, I would have to check with my wife, but most likely tap that screen. Okay, I'll text you guys. I'd love to go to the game if you guys are down. Tickets aren't like crazy at all. So I'll get us tickets. I'll get us the tickets. But if USL rapidly expands, then I could see the MLS looking at them and looking at buying that business and then saying, hey, okay, we'll buy your business and implement this because now we have a salary cap. Now we have a salary minimum. Certain owners are barely hitting the minimum and we love to punish them in some way. Again, it has to be of 2/3 of a vote through the owners for something to come through like that. So you're really banking on the USL doing incredible so well that the owners have no choice, which is a really low probability. So what can you actually do? But Don Garber, for those that don't know, the previous guy, he really fucking crushed it. You got to give credit where it's due. He basically had 3 pillars of success. He had 3 pillars that drove the success of the league over the last 20 years: stadiums, youth academies, and designated player rule. Every single MLS team now has a youth academy, where when he first joined, there was not a single one. 23 to 30 MLS teams have their own stadium grounds, which is really cool. If you down for let's battle bomb. I don't even know what that means. What is you down for a battle? What does that mean? Let's battle bomb. But I actually don't know what that means. So you're gonna have to walk me through it. I'm down. I'm just in the middle of the episode, but how long will you stream? I'm about halfway through my episode. I don't know. It depends how many questions you guys keep asking. I would say I'll probably be live for another hour or so. What is a battle? What's that mean? I I feel like I'm so new to the TikTok game, man. I don't know shit about this stuff. Oh, you'll find out. I mean, I'm not trying to like rap battle you some shit. Like what we doing here, Cam? Talk to me. Oh, you'll find out. All right. I'm just keep doing my show. You let me know. Yeah, I have my phone in front of me, so if you want to text me at all, Cam, your first text, nice, Kuma. I'm telling you, man, it's really cool. You can run two at the same time. So I'm running both Restream and TikTok. The only catch is you just need 2 cameras. Beef. What up? I have no invited me here. All right. So, but yeah, Kuma, if you got the money for it, Osmo Mobile 3, Pocket 3, not mobile. Osmo Pocket 3, it's the best camera for this shit. The best camera. So, anyways, Cam, you let me know what. That's my boy Beef. What's up, Beef? You let me know what the battle thing is. Either way, I'm 100% down to hang out tomorrow night. Other footy news, Gio Reyna heading out to Strasbourg on a 5-year deal. Genuinely big move for him and for U.S. footy. He is obviously he had that great goal in the first game of the what's good. He had the great goal in the first game of the World Cup. Now heading over to Europe on a 5-year deal. Love to see that for our boys. Additionally, Middlesbrough is basically turned into USMNT FC with Max Afston coming through, as well as Morris and Berhalter. So hey, you know, if you're looking for someone to watch English Championship, any US fans, I think you would enjoy watching Middlesbrough. I don't think they're gonna do shit next year, but hey, listen, it is what it is. It's good to see our boys going to Europe, especially the young ones that are getting signed like Gio Reyna. And then obviously you got like Kevon Sullivan going to that City in a couple years, 16-year-old stud. So really, really cool shit coming along. Additionally, you know me, I'm a sucker for jerseys. Monaco coming out with what I think is one of the better jerseys. Let me zoom out on that a little. There you go. Fucking clean, right? Fucking clean. I'm really worried. I'm really interested in what this battle thing is. Cam, is it one? I bet it's one of these buttons. Oh, there's like games and shit. Yeah, there's like that. I knew it was gonna be some shit like this. Anyways, let's get into MLB trade deadline. Sorry, TikTok, I don't got transitions for you guys yet. I'll send you invite. I'm free tomorrow. So, is it gonna come through my live thing, or what I gotta pay attention for? I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. All right. Let's get into some MLB stuff. It should. Don't stress it. All right. I believe in you. I just want to know what I'm battling about. That's the real thing. Anyways, let's get into some MLB stuff. We had a crazy trade deadline. Let me zoom that out a little bit. Actually, that's such a bad feed on that page. One sec, guys. Let me switch on this one. That way TikTok can see it just as well. So an insane stat here. Basically, Paul Skeens is seemingly falling off in his career. 98-mile-per-hour pitches thrown by Paul Skeens in each of his 78 big career starts. So 32 in his first, and then it trickles all the way down to, I'm going to have to go to the actual feed for you guys to see it. Where did I go? Where is it at? Bad radio. I know. Right here. Boom. All right. As you can see from this tweet, let me zoom in for you guys. There you go. Started off throwing 98-mile-per-hour pitches, 32 in his first start, all the way down to 0 in the last 4 starts. Casey, please donate. You guys, I don't need donations, but I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it very much so. Which got me to comment. Where do we go? This is what happens when any good man starts getting laid. They get comfortable. He'll have love handles in 3 years. Obviously, me talking about Livy Dunn. I was making a joke. Got a lot of people's feelings on Twitter, which was a lot of fun. One rose, that's it. Listen, man, the guy's got to save his roses for his girl. You can't just giving out roses like that. It's not a, this isn't a bouquet, right? But basically, Paul Skeens seemingly losing his stuff. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I actually think Skeens is probably fine. I think the guy's probably just tired of pitching for the fucking Pirates, and so he's stopped trying as hard as he was before. And, you know, this is me just making a joke about Livy Dunn. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure the man's very comfortable with Livy. Obviously, fuck the guy who pointed out on Twitter that he's been with Livy since college. Fuck you for trying to ruin my joke. That's all I got to say about that. Additionally, the Cubbies. The trade deadline yesterday was a little crazy. Obviously, we got the lockout looming next year. So there's like, some teams are obviously more sellers, some teams are buyers. You have players that are on 2-year contracts that aren't getting the right value because there's owners and GMs that think that they're not going to play a single game next season. So obviously, I feel like I got to keep paying attention just in case I got this invite. Obviously, you have a large amount of players making movement throughout the league. The Cubbies, for once, were absolute buyers this deadline, bringing in 2-time All-Star Kevin Gausman from Toronto. Obviously, we wanted Scoobs. We talked about it in the last couple episodes, but Gausman is a great alternative to Scooble. 5th among active pitchers and strikeouts, 2023 AL finalist, first pitcher in MLB with history of 21 plus strikeouts and no walks through his first 2 starts of a season, which was this year. The dude is a strikeout king. On top of that, 2-time All-Star Clay Holmes also getting added to the front of the rotation, 2.39 ERA. The dude has been absolutely dealing. He also had a career best 12 wins last year, so locked the fuck in. On top of that, Ryan Zefferjan tied for the 3rd among MLB relievers with 75 strikeouts, top 10 in MLB strikeout rate and 33% and 97 mile per hour fastball. I also I think he's a sinker baller, so should be really great addition to the relief to the pen. And then Braxton Garrett, I believe this kid's a little younger. I don't think he'll probably play into the team right away. I think you're more so going to see Braxton Garrett in AAA, but great addition nonetheless. And then Tyrone Taylor hitting .354 since June 28th. Been absolutely dialed in. Batting .301 against left-handed pitchers this season, which is really important simply because just tropical. What? Just dropped, oh snap, just dropped Topical Sunset. I don't know what any of this means. You guys might as well be speaking Spanish to me. That sounds like a new Alani flavor. By the way, if you guys want free Alanis, I got you on that all day long. You have to dump water bottle on your head now. I have to. I don't think you understand how this works here, Cam, but I ain't doing that shit. If you get me on, I ain't doing that shit, bro. You get me on one of your streams, I'm there in person. I will dump it all over me. For sure, I'll set up some towels, something. You let me know in advance. All right, Thursday, if you're there on Thursday, I'll put a towel underneath me. I just got a really expensive PC right next to me. So I'll put a towel underneath me, and I'll dump a water bottle all over my face, simply just for you. I don't know why, but I'll do it. And then Kuma, yeah, I mean, if I can get you an Alani sponsorship, I would. I can't even get myself an Alani sponsorship. But instead, I can offer you just free Alani. That's all I can give you. Free night, the whopping price of free $99. Anyways, Cubbies doing some damage in the trade deadline. You love to see it as a Cubs fan. Last night, let's talk about Tiger Woods. I'll tell you about Tiger Woods. I can talk about Tiger Woods all day long, man. We grew up in Florida. You know what? the rise and the fall of Tiger Woods when his ex-wife threw a driver through his back window and everybody thought he was drunk driving. And then next thing you know, he's fucking like 13 different moms from Orlando, including some bitch from Perkins. It was an incredible downfall. And then he came right back up 10 years later, wins the fucking Masters. And then he gets pulled over for a DUI and says he's going to call the president. So that's my Tiger Woods recap. Pretty hell of a life. His son is now pretty good at golf. So maybe we get Charlie Woods. We are a Charlie Woods podcast, I'll tell you that much. Anyways, Cubbies, Tyrone Taylor, last edition there. I mean, it's kind of like an Ian Happ platoon situation. The guy was mashing lefties. Ian Happ can't see the fucking ball out of a lefty's hand for some reason. It's great addition, especially since this guy's been mashing since June 28th. There's some other big names around the league. Adley Rutschman, the all-star, going to Boston in a somewhat shocking deal. Boston basically, they were shit all season and then had a crazy June and July. And now they turn in the buyers at the deadline to bring in Adley. Great addition to their staff. Obviously, I think them sweeping the Dodgers literally led to them bringing in Adley. So if you're a Red Sox fan, there's a chance you want a free Margaritaville cruise at the Zach Brown concert last night, and you went home and woke up to Adley Rutschman, or not woke up, pulled up your X.com to Adley Rutschman joining your team. Not a bad night for any Red Sox fan that went to Fenway on Sunday night. On top of that, we got some other deals. Luis Arraez going to the Phillies. The Phillies kind of sticking their toe in the pool a little bit. Not really, sort of, not kind of, maybe. I don't know why the Phillies are buyers. I think they should be sellers, honestly. But, they also brought in Brooks Raley. And on top of that, Heliot Ramos is heading to the Yankees. Padres bringing in Casey Mees. Astros added Dalton Varsho. And White Sox added Luis Castillo. I would do a graphic on all those people, but if I don't really know who you are off the first rip, then you don't get a graphic. That's my rule, and I'm sticking to it. But last but not least, the biggest deal, that wasn't what the Cubs were doing, but the biggest deal, in my opinion, Tarik, I keep calling him Derek. I don't know why. Tarik Skubal, the reigning two-time Cy Young winner on a pure rental that's not really a rental, goes to the Dodgers for a package deal of prospects of Zahir Hope, River Ryan, and Brady Smith. Probably those last two, those are the most baseball-sounding players. River Ryan, that sounds like an AI, Gen AI. No offense to River Ryan if he ends up turning into anything, but it sounds like a Gen AI baseball player. But Brady Smith, and basically without touching their active roster. So their October rotation is now projected to be Skubal, Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, and Ohtani. Basically the best rotation in the league. Their second rotation could even be considered one of the best in the league. The Dodgers will be the first team ever to have a rating back-to-back MVP and rating back-to-back Cy Young on the same roster. So the rich just keep getting much, much richer, which, happens to the best of us. Conspiracy alert. Little bit of a conspiracy alert. A lot of people believe that Skubal was sent for a very small price of those three prospects simply because owners want to break baseball. They want to have the fans on their side. And what I mean by on their side is that MLB currently does not have a salary cap, which enables a team like the Dodgers to have basically $1 billion in payroll or $1 billion in deferred payments at least. And so without a cap mechanism in place, they can freely spend whatever the fuck they want. If you want to remain competitive in this league, you now need to spend a lot of money. So obviously owners are incentivized to some degree to want a salary cap because it would make the cost of competition more affordable, right? Now, people are pushing back on that and saying that if you're going to institute a cap, you should institute a minimum. There's teams like the Marlins that spend like a 100th of what the Dodgers spend. And so obviously we should bring the bottom up if we're going to bring the top down, which makes a lot of sense. And I think is what will probably end that when they do agree on a CBA next year, next summer. I don't think we'll have very much baseball, but there is a conspiracy out there that owners are loading up the Dodgers to get fans on their side of a salary cap, and quite frankly, fucking working. Because if you looked anywhere, if you went anywhere on the internet over the last 2 or 3 days, and you're if any fan of MLB, everybody's saying the same thing. The Dodgers have broke baseball. Things are fucked. We're never gonna play a game again, or we're not gonna play a game in 2027 because of this. And so you naturally have people throwing those conspiracies out there. But here's the deal. Here's the reality of it. The Dodgers are an incredibly well-run organization, right? They're not the only ones spending a shit ton of money, but they are also benefiting from a financial backdrop of a 2013 era national TV deal post-bankruptcy that's given them a significant advantage that what? Inactivity. I thought that was you, Cam. I don't know. They're trying to say, what do you mean inactivity? All right. TikTok's weird, man. They will take you down for nothing. I'm sitting here talking and they tell me I'm inactive. Anyways. So this 2013 era regional TV deal post-bankruptcy has given the Dodgers a revenue advantage that most teams cannot touch, and it's a big reason that they keep spending. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of it all. And Tarek Skubal had a nice little response to it all, and I agree with him. But let's at least talk about the setting, right? Like, where does this all come from? And what is this TV deal, right? So cord cutting is benefiting the Dodgers simply because people are dropping their $80 to $100 a month cable bundle. A chunk of that bill, roughly $3 to $10 a month, was going to regional sports networks, right? The channels that show your local team. So if you're in Florida, actually, I think it's Valley Sports Florida or something. We'll get into that in a second. But basically, Yes Network in New York, Marquee in Chicago, the Dodgers that have their network in LA, et cetera, with Spectrum. So when you cancel your cable, those channels effectively lose money. YouTube TV literally dropped a bunch of them because it was too pricey. So if you have YouTube TV, you probably don't get access to like the Marquee Network, and if you're a Chicago Cubs fan in Chicago, or Yes Network if you're a Yankees fan in New York. And so you likely signed up with your local TV provider or Fubo or somebody that did carry this type of thing. So why is this a death sentence for these channels? So two things are happening at once. These networks are locked into huge escalating contracts with teams from years ago that payments go up every single year. But their revenue almost entirely comes from cable fees. And cable subscribers are dropping at about 10% a year. So you have rising costs and shrinking revenue, which is why you have companies like Valley Sports going bankrupt, right? So filing for bankruptcy. That's exactly what killed Diamond Sports. It's exactly what killed Valley Sports, right? So the Yankees, perfect example of the cautionary tale here. Even them as a giant, right? You think the Yankees, they're one of the biggest teams in the world. Like, they couldn't even be, how could they be dealing with these issues, right? So the Yankees own 26% of the Yes Network, which they signed a 30-year, $5.7 billion deal back in 2013, right before the cord cutting. Great. Sort of. Not so great because they own a piece of that business. So they have a depreciating asset, right? So great for the Yankees now, but if the network is going to go broke, their stake could be worth nothing and they might be forced to accept smaller checks. Most teams are exposed to this exact same mechanism, right? The Yankees more so because they own a giant piece of their network. But I digress. So why are the Dodgers the one exception? Their deal has two edges that nobody else has. First, the biggest edge. It was signed in 2014, which, for anybody that's paying attention, 2014 was like the peak of cable. Like, it was right before Netflix brought in streaming. It was right before YouTube TV existed. It was right before any of this other stuff, any of this other mumbo jumbo existed in the world. It just didn't, right? Or it was starting to, but it wasn't this groundbreaking thing where everybody's cord cutting and now we all have like 15 different subscriptions. No. So they signed their cable deal at the peak, 2014, best timing ever. $8.35 billion over 25 years, roughly 334 million buckaroonies per year. Not too bad, right? So for scale, to give you some perspective, and it makes sense why they did this, right? LA is a huge market. Dodgers are doing really well. They had a lot of really good talent at the time. They've been in the playoffs almost every year at that point. So to give you the scale against it all, the Yankees are averaging about $190 million a year. The Mets average $54 million a year. And most teams hover in that like $100 million, big teams hover in that $100 million per year range. So the Dodgers are pulling roughly 3 times the average of any team every single year on a locked-in deal. That's where the rich keep getting richer. They have a financial advantage over everybody else because of when they signed the deal. Now, on top of that, there's a layer of this that their package deal was actually sold off and written off to another buyer. So basically, they're just sitting on a surplus of $150 or so million every single year to spend on their team. So they cash the biggest check in sports at the exact top of the market. It's guaranteed for years while everybody else's TV money is bleeding out. And that's the real reason they keep stacking aces and prospects and just great players across the board. It really is the strongest argument for the salary cap because no amount of spend more fixes a structural head start like that. Like, sure, you can look at the Mets and their payroll, and you can let's take a step back here. Let's look at the Mets and their payroll. They spend $350 million a year. So they're spending a lot, and they can't even make it into the playoffs. So you do got to give the Dodgers some credit to some degree of, hey, they are a really talented at identifying talent. They're really talented at putting this talent together. They're really talented or really strong at keeping this talent and building an organization that makes people want to play for them. Obviously, living in LA is one thing, and the weather and all of the celebrityness and the fame and the TV deals and ad deals are all great that come with it. But on top of that, the Dodgers, the Angels are in LA. They don't do this, right? So like the Dodgers are an incredibly well-run organization. It pains me to say that as a former Giants fan and Cubs fan, but they are. They really are. And until you have teams being required to cap their spend, you're gonna have the Dodgers basically continue to dominate until this deal expires, at least, which is in 2038. And so, don't get me wrong, the Dodgers as an organization, they could be cheap owners and take the alternative route, which is we're just going to take this cash. It's guaranteed money. We put a product out there, whatever, who cares? If we suck, we suck. If we're good, we're good. But we'll keep our money and we'll be cheap and we'll just stack our own pockets. No, they didn't do that. So you got to give credit to their owners that have said, actually, our best opportunity is to take this capital, put it right back into the team, and build fans for generations upon generations. Full stop. Great job. You got to give it to them. Give credit where credit's due. They're a really well-run organization. So they could be cheap. They could be pocketing this cash, but instead they go and buy this cash, and now they've seemingly broke baseball. So what's going to happen? We're due for a lockout. We're due for probably no baseball next summer. We're due for only watching the Women's World Cup next summer, basically. That's all we got left. But I do think change does need to happen. Spend minimums need to happen. There's this world that it's never going to happen with promotion relegation MLB, but that would be really cool too. Dissolving the farm systems and building in a proper relegation system would be really cool. I don't think that'll ever happen. But neither here nor there. Really, really interesting stuff, to say the least, if you like to get into the financial nitty-gritty of it all. On top of that, we got an unconfirmed, I'll say unconfirmed because I don't know who Rob Reinhardt is, but this was just too funny not to talk about. Jazz Chisholm apparently rejected a trade to the Orioles because someone in their front office referred to him as Jizz on an evaluation call, which I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm going to choose to believe that it is because that is objectively hilarious. So I'm told the trade would have sent Adley Rutschman and Tyler Ward to New York. Now that's how you know it's bullshit. That would not have happened. That would not have happened. Anyways, let's get into some NFL news. We'll flip over to the back page on the main feed. Sorry, TikTok. I don't got transitions for you guys yet. I got to get better at that. But there we go. Bijan Robinson got absolutely paid and has reset the market for running backs finally. Ooh, man. 3 years, $66.75 million buckaroonies, up to $75 million in incentives, making him the highest paid running back in NFL history by an average annual value of $22 million. Anybody that's watched Bijan Robinson run knows that that man deserves it, but it's very interesting because it is the record for most guaranteed money for a running back ever on a non-rookie deal. $51 million guaranteed. Why does this matter? It is the first time in a while since the running backs really broke through on a big second contract for the last about 10 years. Running backs have kind of been treated as cannon fodder, really. Like the coaches have basically collectively decided that running backs like Bijan and Saquon and, go down the list, Derrick Henry, that they're actually not that important and they're very replaceable, marginally replaceable, and that really the importance lives within the trenches of the offensive line and the play calling. And don't get me wrong, that is very true. To some extent, right? I do think when you got a talent like Bijan, a talent like Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, etc., they're at a different level where they're making guys miss. They're getting first downs when other players would not have gone first downs. And so this is really great for the running back market because for a while there, they were getting franchise tagged. They're making good money. Like Le'Veon Bell was making good money in Pittsburgh. You got franchise tag, and next thing you know, he's out of the league, right? Obviously, there's probably more to that happens. But when you're talking about, obviously, you can't really, when you're talking about professional athletes, in a dangerous sport as football is, who's, you got guys like Nick Chubb, whose knee basically exploded on live TV in front of all of us. When you got a guy like Bijan, whose knee could also explode on live TV in front of us all and get hit the most out of anybody in the league, getting $51 million guaranteed, you got to be happy for him, right? The last couple big contracts, obviously Saquon, $20 million last year. McCaffrey with $19 million. You got Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry both with $12-16 million ranges. So as you can see, Bijan and Barkley have pushed the envelope. Barkley got paid because he won the Super Bowl, though. So, this was a hard, actually, no, he didn't. Yeah, he did. Barkley got paid the way he did because he won the Super Bowl in 2025. Exactly. $20.6 million. So, even before that, there was still, skepticism on whether or not they should give Barkley this deal. So it was really great to see, to say the least. I'm a big fan of Bijan, big fan of running backs getting paid. We're a big fan of anybody getting paid, man. Really, for real. On top of that, I was debated whether or not to talk about this next one, but honestly, Aaron Rodgers popping off so much and just Pat McAfee looking so awkward through it all it was like, I gotta do it. But we don't do top politics on this show for a variety of different reasons. For some reason, this guy only uploaded his video quality into basically dog shit mode. Let me switch to a full screen view for you guys. Sorry, TikTok, y'all gotta wait again. But here we go. Aaron Rodgers hopping on after practice. Pat McAfee live. And I'll let the clip roll. We can talk about it.
Pass. I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
Okay.
Like
Gotta
that.
love that guy.
Okay.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Aaron's back,
Are
baby.
you kidding me?
Yeah, 111
You
times.
got a pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times at the White House? What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And how
Look at, I mean, Pat is just so awkward through all
much time
this.
did the network spend at that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding?
Yeah!
Did they do even a minute? Did they do even a minute on Tony Fauci?
No, I don't think I've heard
Nah, I
anything.
bet they didn't.
But on that note,
Then there was another scandalous
I mean, listen, Aaron Rodgers, there's a lot of people out there this year that, we're not a politics podcast. We won't get into it. But Kyrie Irving, Aaron Rodgers, there's a lot of people that are having a deservedly so victory lap on a handful of different things.
Season 2 involving a voter for MVP, for Coach of the Year. How much time did your network spend? Where's your cap? Did your network spend on
our
that?
network.
I wish I could Fauci. Go back to Fauci. I wish I could Fauci. This is awesome.
Go back to Fauci?
Yeah.
Go back to the coward Tony Fauci and his science?
Hold on now.
Who's spending the entire time writing in his diary about how fun it is to be famous? You got to be kidding me.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, we got to get Aaron Rodgers either in front of a mic all the time or never in front of a mic again.
So on that note,
What are you going to say about me now?
Debate him,
What are you going to say
debate
about me
him.
no,
now?
I got no debate here. You had a 500.
No, seriously, what are they going to say about me now? Now that you can't talk about the COVID stuff because obviously it was made, in a lab in China. That's like not even quite.
All right, I don't want to get taken off TikTok. It's not worth it. Not worth it. Not worth it. But Aaron Rodgers obviously doing his victory lap on, who was in front of Congress this week and making mention of the Diana Rossini issue. I mean, we talked about it at length when the Diana Rossini thing came up because I thought it was, any type of cheating scandal like that. I mean, that's cream of the crop in terms of fun things to talk about on the internet. But, you gotta dial it back a little, Aaron. We all watch sports to get away from politics. We don't need to, we get it. We understand that you were right. You were very right during that moment, and we'll all live with it. We'll all live with it. On top of that, let's get back to the back page. Let's get to it. Let's see on. I think I'm getting some texts. Make sure it's not hitting me up. All right, cool. I don't know. Cam said he was going to do something, but I don't know. I don't see him doing nothing yet. So, anyways, Tony Romo formally out for the season. Obviously, we talked about his arrest saga, what went down in Wisconsin. Not a good look for the brand. But also, they got some really good talent. They got some really strong talent in the broadcasting booths with J.J. Watt. We got Tom Brady and Fox. You got just Greg Olson. I mean, the teams are really pretty strong. So I do think this is CBS taking their, get out of jail free card and just be like, all right, Tony, get the fuck out of here. We don't need you here. But I love Tony Romo. I think we're big Tony Romo fans here for no reason at all, other than that was one of the most hilarious DUI videos that I've ever watched in my life. But, hoping for the best for him. On top of that, Kobe Bryant, the Bears defensive back is out 8 to 10 weeks with a hyperextension to his knee. Honestly, when I read the headline for this show, I was like, okay, that's not too bad, simply because when I first saw it on Twitter yesterday, he was getting carted off and he was like crying, and I was like, oh my God, he fucking tore his whatever. And it didn't happen. So 8 to 10 weeks, if you're going to, you would never want to hyperextend anybody's knee, but if you're going to ever hyperextend your knee, I guess the first week of August is the fucking do it. We'll probably get him back October then, around then, which, should be a good time. I think the Yeah, it should be a good time to get him back. And then last but not least, on the NFL side of things, the 49ers injury drama. So Mike Evans out with a quad. He might be back this week. Christian Kirk, Ricky Pearsall, both out. Jordan James, Dejon Stribling, Kelion Black, Mekhi Kamara, Keon White, Malik Mustafa, Vidarian Lower. These are guys I don't even know who. Kyle Shanahan is included in there. George Kittle with his Achilles. We got to move this substation. Somebody, or just move the training facility, or could you guys just build like an office in front of it or something? There's clearly the 49ers at this point. It is not a conspiracy. These guys are dealing with more injuries than any other team in the league. I don't know who Brock Purdy is going to throw the fucking ball to. It's actually crazy. It's crazy to me that Brock is actually, that they're doing this shit, but constantly injured. Somebody's got to do something about this substation outside of the 49ers practice facility, because I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. It's just continual injury after injury. And if you're a Niners fan, you gotta hate it. You gotta hate it, to say the least. So let's round things out here with a little, where am I going? Right here. Klay Thompson and Easy Money Sniper, otherwise known as Kevin Durant, are kind of beefing. So where did it all start? Kevin Durant, in the news lately, has been talking about how the Philadelphia 76ers next year are actually better than Steph Curry's 2017 Warriors. Well, no shit, he's saying that. Of course he's saying that. First of all, KD, for those that don't know, KD loves hoops, man. He loves hoops. He lives hoops, breathes hoops. All he does is hoops. That's all that man cares about. So he's gonna talk shit on the internet. He has burner accounts. He does it all. He seriously is one of the most entertaining guys to follow on Twitter, simply because he does not give a fuck. He will rail off on somebody if they're saying some shit that he doesn't believe in, right? But of course, Kevin's coming out and saying that this team is better than 2017 Warriors, because if this team loses, 2026 Sixers lose, then it makes the 2017 Warriors seem like they had more of an accomplishment. So, of course, KD is going to sit there and be like, hey, this team's better than that team. And then it gets a little, people start arguing with him in the comments, and then he makes a comment back to some guy named Tev Stakes. Ain't close. LMAO, Joel MVP recently, Jaylen Brown recent Finals MVP, Tyrese Maxey All-Star the last 3 years. We all know what Braun does. Klay Thompson, never MVP candidate in nothing, 22 points per game. Draymond, 14 points per game, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Steph, an MVP just like Joel was. I don't get how the Warriors team is better on paper. I do think there's a bit of an unnecessary shot at Klay Thompson there. You didn't need to point out that he was never MVP candidate, but that's neither here nor there. I do think this is a perfect little Twitter drama that we're getting stirred up. And then obviously Klay Thompson responds last night, screenshots that says, hey man, you good? What you using my full government ID for? I do think Klay's getting in his feelings a little bit. I mean, I don't think he really said anything that was bad. Obviously, Klay not being a MVP candidate is objectively true, but it's hard to argue that the 2017 Warriors aren't one of the best teams of all time, if not the best team of all time. So him arguing against that, it's a little weird, because that team was so fucking strong, and it was a team that they weren't 73-9, but they were 73-9 the year before, and then they swapped fucking Harrison Barnes for Kevin Durant. So obviously that team was even better than that. So, I mean, is Klay a little out of line here? I mean, no, I think him screenshotting this and calling Kevin out is pretty fair. Is Kevin a little out of line? Not really. I mean, this is what Kevin does. This is pretty much just very, very tame for Kevin, to be honest. So, and then you got Draymond out here basically saying Kevin thought he was on his burner account, which honestly, You've seen the Kevin Durant burner account tweets. This is nowhere near that. You would be calling Klay Thompson ass if he was on his burner. So I don't think this is really much of a story, but hey, we're at that point of the sports calendar where, what are you going to do? We can talk about KD and Klay beefing on Twitter because that's all we got right now. At least until August 21st, that's when the Prem kicks off. And then last two things, a little bit of front page news for you guys, just for the fun of it. Sam Altman in the press, as always, the CEO of OpenAI, otherwise known as ChatGPT, tweeted out, cool use case of ChatGPT work I heard last night. Connect your family calendars and explain your kids' interests. Every morning for the drive to school, have it make a podcast that talks about one kid's soccer game that afternoon, one kid's upcoming birthday, some news, etc. Or crazy thought, crazy idea, I don't. Or you could just talk to your fucking kids. Who would have thought? I know. It's a pretty crazy idea to actually talk to your fucking children. But hey, who am I to say, listen, this guy, he is the definition of what you would assume a villain would be in an AI movie. So I have no problem with Sam Altman, actually. I think he gets a lot of shit for no reason. Well, for a lot of reasons. But he gets a lot of shit, namely for tweets like this that are very not understanding of the real world of what's going on. But, oh shit. Oh, invite Cam now to co-host. This friend is live now. I don't know. We'll see. I think Cam's going to invite me to something. I'm almost on my episode. This is kind of perfect timing. This is actually perfect timing. All right. So, Sam, anybody, don't fucking do this. Talk to your goddamn kid. And last but not least, MySpace. So Tom from MySpace is reportedly making a comeback. I don't know if it's for sure gonna happen, but I would love to see it. Obviously with social media these days and the algorithms being discovery based, it'd really be nice to have a social media platform that's just made for just you and your friends, not necessarily seeing the next viral video. I do think TikTok becoming TikTok and taking so much of the market share from Instagram and Facebook, because they're the same company, had led them down a path of competitiveness with TikTok, which is really taken away from what Instagram and Facebook originally were, which is just a place for you to connect with your friends and keep in touch with your friends. And so I think when you have a platform like TikTok come live, and then you see that the average use time is like 40 plus minutes, and then you're looking at Instagram's average use time is like 10 to 15 minutes. So I can understand why Mark Zuckerberg turned around and said we need to copy the algorithm that TikTok did, because it's going to extend our usage time. In which that's true. I can imagine Instagram's time usage went up drastically since they moved from the social graph to the discovery graph. But it is taken away from the original product that it was, which, I'd imagine if time usage is up, ad impressions are up, so revenue is up. So internally, they measure this as success. They see the business is growing. They see the user engagement's growing. They see the user amount is growing. So there is a lot of things that they can use to quantify this as success. But to the user's product standpoint, it might not be what they wanted the most. Now, something that somebody uses more doesn't necessarily indicate that that's something that they want more, right? So I think there's a bit of a go-between there. Oh, there we go. All right, I've been invited to co-host. All right, fuck it. We'll do it. Let's go.
Hold on.
What's up, Cam?
Wait, hold on. We got to do this. Guys, this man has been killing it over here. If you love the sports game, you got to go check out our man over here. Bi-Weekly Chronicles.
What's up, Cam?
Please do me a favor, if you guys could show some love to this man. He's a good friend of mine, but I said one thing. I said, listen,
We got to take him down. As much as I love him, we've got to show him what we're made of. Because he was talking a little bit of smack out there. And we have to come in and show him how it's done on the dog, baby. Now listen, this man has not battled